Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, wherever you are, ladies and gents. Here we are for the Let's Chat 4 already. A little bit different today, and a fantastic. I'm proud to welcome our first male guest on Let's Talk. After our three females, we've got to get back in with these male guests. So, it gives me great pleasure to welcome Barts from Andy's Man Club. How you doing, mate?
Yeah, not too bad. On yourself, you all good?
Yeah, all good, thanks, mate. So, what for my personal story, some of you know that I have depression. I'm very open to talk about things, mental health. And what Bart's does and what Andy's Man Club does is very special. So, Bart's, I suppose, the easiest way and the best thing is for you to describe who you are, what you do, and how you got involved with Andy's Man Club.
Yeah, okay. As I go by the name Barts because my real name is Andy, but people get me confused with or not. They not confused. They think I am the Andy.
Yeah, it's not
Um,
your club then.
it's not my club. No,
Not your
it's
club. Okay.
his name is named after a guy called Andy Roberts who sadly took his own life in 2016 at the age of 23.
Wow.
So yeah, I go by my nickname Barts. Because if you talk anybody in the charity, I spoke to Andy, they're more likely to go which one. Whereas if you say you
Yeah.
spoke to Barts, they know exactly who you
No,
are. Right?
whether that's good or bad, right?
Exactly. Yeah.
Infamous.
So that's it. But I've been called Barts by all my friends and everything since I was at school. Really, it's just something that come about and just has always seems to have stuck. Bit about me. How I got involved in Andy's Man Club, early 20 or mid 2022. Realized I've been suffering with mental health issues, problems. I don't know how people call them. I call them issues for myself.
Yeah, I think problems, in my opinion, when people say mental health problems, it's like, oh, there's something wrong. I think you can have
Yeah,
good mental health, you can have not so good mental
exactly.
health, but immediately it's that old problems kind of thing.
Yeah.
Yeah,
So I call them issues just because I have my issues. I've always had issues, I believe, since, but I didn't know that at the time. Um, I I'd say that I was very much outgoing person. I'd say I've always been an outgoing person. I've always been a doer. I've been massively into sports. That's why I'd say outgoing because I love any type of sports, playing or watching. Um, but I've always been a worrier. Always thought that I'm not really good enough. Sort of those
hmm
in what I now look at like intrusive thoughts.
yeah,
Get them. Um, but I've managed to get through life. I've had a you look at it, I've had a lovely life, but in 2022 things come to a head where a relationship broke down after several relationships before that had broken down. But I realized this one was mainly was I say mainly part of it was due to my mental health,
yeah,
bottling things up, keeping a mask on, venting at the wrong times and the wrong reasons. When you look back at hindsight, is I've vented. I look back at hindsight and think it wasn't really that big, but at the time it was
no,
massive and huge to me.
yeah,
Um, so that relationship broke down. Then I realized after sort of seeking help and advice that I've been suffering from depression for about 18 months
mm.
to 2 years.
Out of
Um,
interest, Bart, going a step back, where
yeah.
did you go for help and advice?
Hmm. I probably went to before Andy's Man Club. I went to the wrong places, which I'd
Right,
say
yeah, yeah,
is the bottom of a pint glass. I'd say.
right, yeah,
Um, Mainly, I sort of I've been involved in football most of my life. That stopped, and I sort of got into running. I've always liked running. My dad was a runner when I was a lot younger, so I used to sort of be taken to races and things like that. But yeah, I was running, but for a while I think I was running away from my problems.
yeah,
Um, that, but definitely I'd say that I was so, if I had a bad. I think someone said this in a drink aware thing we did not so long ago that I always find a reason to have a drink, or
yeah,
especially more so back then. I always find even if it was a good day, oh, I had a good day, I'll have a drink.
yeah. Have a drink.
Um,
The weather's
yeah,
nice. It's Friday. It's Saturday. Oh,
it's
last one
Friday.
before Sunday
Yeah,
night. Last one before back to work again. And before you know, you're back to Tuesday, Wednesday again. Yeah,
yeah, exactly. Yeah. Just I think I just thought that was it cleared the problems for a short period of time, and you go again the following day. So
yeah,
um, yeah, that's where I went for. I'd say I went for it. Not that I don't go to those places anymore. I know some people that have eradicated it, but I I see it as a positive thing now. I went to the pub on my own on Saturday to watch the football,
Yeah.
the England game. I don't know why I did, but I just felt like I wanted to have a couple of hours.
Yeah.
But I spoke to a couple of people in the pub. It's a pub I've never really been to before, but I'm a lot happier in my own company. Whereas before, I would have been like, no, I've got to message 10 of my mates and meet up with
Yeah.
them.
Who's
And
coming
get,
out? Yeah. Again,
who's
just
coming out?
justifying
Yeah,
justifying why you're going, right? Yeah.
if nobody's coming out, then I would be like, I won't go out. It would be like, but I get like I'm frustrated by it. But yeah, I went had a few beers, came back, just yeah, it was nice.
Great stuff.
Yeah, so that's about me.
How about you?
The depression got on top of me. I realized I've been suffering from anxiety. I call it function anxiety now because I still get anxious about things, but I've got a lot better way of dealing with them.
Yeah.
Before I would say yes to doing something and always find a reason to get out of it last minute.
Yeah.
Some stupid excuse I've come up with in the past, but it's because I couldn't say no. Whereas now I would
Yeah.
just quite happily say no.
Yeah,
No
well,
toilet
which is a
paper.
big step, isn't it? So
Yeah,
tell me about Andy's Man Club. I know some people may have heard of the work they do. I've been aware of what you guys have been doing for at least 2.5, 3 years now. So tell the world this is your sales pitch, or this is the Andy's Man Club bit. So tell
yeah,
me all about Andy's Man Club, Barts, where it came from, what it does, who it does it for,
yeah.
and everything you can.
So, as I said, it was named after Andy Roberts, who sadly died by suicide at the age of 23. Luke Ambler, which is Andy's brother-in-law, and Andy's mum, Elaine Roberts, come together, and they're the co-founders of Andy's Man Club. They put out a Facebook post on in June of 2016. Got a good reaction. So on the 4th of July, the first Andy's Man Club was held up in Halifax.
Right?
Where so the first club was open over 9 years ago, where 9 men actually walked through the door.
Wow.
Yeah,
Which says something for something completely kind of not off the cuff, obviously for the
yeah,
family, I mean, but for a lot of people, just as a Facebook post or and no background to it.
yeah. It went down so well that they carried on doing it, and there's been more clubs have opened from that. We now have over 300 clubs across England,
Wow.
Scotland, and Wales. And last Monday, we had 6,245 guys walk through the door of Anders Man Club, which is a
Wow.
peer-to-peer support group. It's a suicide prevention charity, but it is also a peer-to-peer support group. Nobody is qualified. That helps. We have facilitators, which are volunteers that run the evenings. Nobody is qualified to run to run the evening. It is
Yeah,
just
yeah.
the experience. You'll find the volunteers are actually guys that already walked through the door for
Been there
themselves.
themselves. Yeah. Which
A
helps,
bit
I
like
think, a
me.
lot, doesn't it? Yeah.
Yeah. So
With the whole the male thing,
yeah.
it's
Yes. So it was, like I say, Luke and Elaine come together because they believed that if Andy had talked, he'd still be here today. And they also felt they didn't want families to go through what they went through.
yeah.
Such a horrific time for them. I say it's evolved massively. I started attending for my own mental health in 2022, and I remember
Mhm.
there being 90 clubs and 1,800. I think it's 1,812 men walked through the door. I don't know why I remember the stat, but
Wow,
so
it's a
that's
good
how much
one
is
to good.
slowly.
Well, it just goes to show the growth, doesn't it?
Yeah,
Which is one absolutely amazing.
yeah,
That there are these groups there. It's also really quite scary, isn't it? The
yes,
fact that there are say about 6,500 men last time that walk through the doors
yeah,
looking for help, support, aren't potentially answers, I suppose. But that is if that was anything else, that that's just not just Andy's Man Club, but what you guys are seeing.
Yeah.
Outside of that, it's phenomenal, isn't it? I know I've seen statistics about just like the construction industry at the moment. Two people a day take their own lives by suicide just in the construction industry, and you
Yeah.
multiply that over everything, and it's getting that help to people. And the fact that there's something now, is it free to come along,
It's
Barts?
free. Free. You don't need to book on. There's no referrals. It's for any man over the age of 18.
Yeah.
It's funny you say about the construction industry. I believe there's something called the Lost City. That
Mm-hmm.
if you took every person that had died by suicide in the construction industry, you'd be able to build a city.
Well, that's
So it's called
there,
the Lost City.
there's not a lot you can say to that, is there?
Yep.
I'm not one short for words usually, but just things like that when it puts it into real perspective. And I think what
Yeah.
people and that's or the what people see in the problem that statistics like this have is they're just numbers on a page.
Yeah.
You can read something, you can say, yeah, two people a day or this, whatever. But when you actually sit down and you put it into that kind of context, something that everybody can relate to, whether they're male, female,
Yeah.
however they identify themselves, or um, young, old, just that concept of that number of people. And like we say, we're just talking about the construction industry there.
Yeah.
It's wow, it's unbelievable. So
And is so the reason for it and the reason why Andy's Man Club, let's say Andy would have talked, and it's something that they didn't want the family to go through again. And the reason why we are men is because men don't talk. It's proven that men don't talk, but
yeah,
also 74% of suicides in the UK are male.
wow,
So that's where, and it's not to say that we don't. We are our biggest advocates are women for
yeah,
what we do. It's only men only on a Monday night between 7 and 9, which is when our clubs run on a Monday evening, 7 p.m. to 9 p.m.
right,
Except for bank holidays, we that's the only time we are men only. The rest of the time, you'll see that I wouldn't have gone to Anders Mind Club if it hadn't been for my mum finding it on the internet. My mum found it on the
right.
internet to help me. I know guys that now work for Anders Man Club when they first attended. One of them will actually say that his wife drove him and kicked him through the door at Anders Man Club. So,
Well,
um,
best thing she
yeah,
probably did for him, wasn't it?
exactly. And then we've all got our wristbands that we wear. We give out our
Uh-huh.
wristbands. The power of wristband goes quite far when we talk about the women's side of it, because it was a wristband was handed out at a festival, and one of the producers of Emmerdale was on the was given this wristband at this music
Okay,
festival.
yeah,
Later on down the line, they then worked with Anders Man Club to get a storyline together, because Paddy the vet was going through suicidal thoughts, and
right.
he actually attended an Anders Man Club in Emmerdale in the actual show
Wow,
itself. And we the stats show that Emmerdale is watched by predominantly women. I'm not saying that it's watched all by women, but is
no,
women of a certain age watch Emmerdale. So they've now become our biggest advocates to support getting men to go through the door. And I think it does help that you get that. Everyone has got a mum, a sister, an auntie, a
yeah,
daughter. Everyone's got a female in their life, even if they're distant or whatever. Everyone's got a female, and I believe the females backing us helps us to be able, because we say the hardest thing to do on a Monday night is to walk through the door. We have guys there to support it. Like I say, the facilitators have been there and done it themselves. But to have the women advocates to sort of encourage it is absolutely
yeah.
amazing.
And also, I suppose it's that spotting signs in your husband, your dad, your son, whoever. The kind of almost like the other way around from what you're saying about the lady,
Yeah,
spotting those signs and realizing, do you know what, there is help, and also what lots of men, I'm sure, are not wanting to do, dive into their doctor. One, because as wonderful as the NHS is and everything, you phone up, and if it's, the receptionist quizzes you, they don't want to, no one wants to talk about it. I'm not going to
yeah,
tell a receptionist. I know from my personal experience of kind of talking therapies and things, it's the concept fantastic, but when I personally came to open up, I didn't want to be talking to somebody who I'd never met before, who I couldn't see, who wouldn't tell me any information about them. I'm like, you're asking me these questions that are, I suppose, subjects that I don't necessarily want to talk about or want to approach. I know I need to, but over the phone to a random person wasn't going to work for me. So the fact, presumably, that all the guys there end up becoming friends in the
Yep.
groups.
And
That
that's it.
again, it turns into it with you going out with your mates.
Yeah, exactly. And it's without that environment, like you said, the pub, going out with your mates or whatever. It's there is a small. We encourage keeping banter to an absolute minimum because
Right.
it's there can be some serious conversations that go on.
Indeed, of course.
Yeah, we call it peer-to-peer support because that's exactly what it is. We have what's called a talking ball. So we go into smaller groups if the group is if the session is that big, where the facilitator will have the talking ball. We then go through 5 questions, so it's got structure. So a
Yep.
bit like you say the thing, but is touch on what you said there. We don't use top trumps. So there's a reason why you walk through the door, and there's a reason why I walk through the door. So if
Yeah.
you were to listen to me and I pass the ball to you, you were to be like, my troubles are nowhere, or my issues are nowhere near as bad as Bart's.
Yeah.
But there's still a reason why you walk through the door. So we want
Yeah.
you to share your reason. But we go through the first 3 questions are always the same. How's your week been? Question number 2 is name a positive from your week. And number 3 is anything to get off your chest. We
Mm-hmm.
talk about near enough anything at Anna's Man Club. There are 4 things we don't talk about: politics and religion.
Mm-hmm.
They create arguments and wars, so
Yeah.
we don't talk about
Indeed.
them. Medication. Even if you were medically qualified in that room, you don't know enough about that person's story to talk about it.
No.
Also,
Indeed.
what might be good for me might be terrible for you.
Yep.
So no influence in preaching on that side of it. And also any criminal investigation, both past or present. Now that one for
Mm-hmm.
2 reasons. The criminal investigation is everything that's said in the room stays in the room. So if you were to describe something as a criminal offence, we can keep it confidential because otherwise we'd be breaking the law.
Yeah. Indeed.
But also somebody else could be a victim of a crime, and
Yeah.
that could be the trigger where their mental health it comes from. And so any sweeping statements on those are fine. I had a rubbish week, went to church, felt a lot better. You just can't say what at church it was.
No.
Or
Yeah.
I started taking my medication a month ago and I'm starting to feel a little bit better now. Just can't say what that
What it
medication is.
is. Yeah. What it is. How
Court case
much.
coming up
And
and I'm really worried about it. Exactly. Those so you can sweeping
yeah.
statements on those are fine, but just no detail to carry on from it. Then we have a short break. We love tea and coffee. As you see, I've been drinking my tea all
Yeah.
through this interview. We love tea and coffee and his Man Club. So there's free tea, coffee, biscuits, and squash. And that time dependent. It's about 15 to 20 minutes. I call it networking, but you could have been in that circle and I could say something that you could resonate with, but you didn't want to talk about it in the group because it's almost like I've got it off my chest. If you talked about it, it's almost like putting it back on my chest.
Yeah.
Whereas when you're outside, you could say, I like someone could be going through a bereavement, someone could have trouble at work, or this happened, or their anxieties through the roof because of something happened. Guys can talk to one another in that scenario and be like, "Oh, my anxiety went through the roof when this happened." So I know where. So
Yeah.
you kind of get the empathy, the feeling from it,
Again, it's that thing of other people having been there. You're not the first. You're not the last.
and
For
that's the one
you,
thing.
whatever it is like as you said previously, the reason why someone's walked through the door. It's not my problem's worse than yours. But if there
Yeah,
are people there who've been in the same situation, and you don't get those comments, I'd imagine like, "So I'll be all right tomorrow."
yeah,
Like you get something, "Oh, cheer up." What have you got to be depressed about, and things like that. That lots of who try and help,
yeah.
um, you know, quite clearly don't. So, a question I've got for you. for you, Bart. Obviously, these groups, if you're up to 300 groups, they're some of them presumably are fairly close to each other,
Yeah.
location wise. What happens with regards to people coming along and them seeing or reactions people get of seeing somebody they might know at, at an Andy's Man Club meeting?
Um, Firstly, I reiterate, if there was one group, if you were one circle, it's confidential. So what's said in the room stays in the room. If you're
Mm-hmm.
to go outside of that, then it's breaching the confidentiality of the group.
Yeah,
So if you did know somebody, then we'd expect the respect to be there that you've both gone for a reason.
yeah.
Um, if I'm trying to think what how many I've got 10 clubs that I look after currently, and
What sort of geographical area is that,
oh,
Bart?
I've got the West Country and South Wales.
Right.
I've got basically the M4 from Reading all the way along into South Wales,
Okay.
um, which goes up like Oxfordshire, Gloucester, but also down as well. I think half of my clubs stay as one group, so that was where the confidentiality comes into. But other groups split because of the numbers. They split into multiple groups.
Okay.
So if you knew me and you didn't want to be in a group with me, you could say, "Oh, do you mind if I don't go with Barts? It's nothing personal, just some stuff I want to talk about."
Yeah.
Because you've got that side of it. Yeah. So
I work with him or I play
yeah,
football with him or yeah.
yeah, yeah. But also, you could talk about that with that person in the break to be like, "Oh, I'd appreciate if you didn't say that I was here or something," because some people don't know. Like my family knew I was going down to the Man Club on the first night, where some people go along
Yeah.
and they don't tell anybody because it's their safe
But
space,
it's big.
but
It's
also,
big. It's yeah. It's a big enough thing for them to get through the door, isn't it? Let alone to
yeah,
have
exactly, yeah.
questions from here, there, and everywhere else about it. Yeah.
Whereas now, if you looked at my social, now because I work for the charity, I'm lucky enough to work for the charity. But before, even if you looked at my social media, you'd know I attended Anna's Man Club because it's all over it. But
Yeah.
I know guys that prefer not to say they go, and that's entirely up to them. That's that's exactly where the confidentiality comes into it. So I think when you say sort of like if you knew someone like and you were in one group, that break time. So you've had the first three questions, then you're having the break. I would really encourage somebody to talk to that person that they knew just to say, "Oh, look, do you mind if we don't? Do you mind if it just stays here?" Because
Yeah.
it is that's the rules anyway.
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
it's also that I feel that once you've spoken, it's
Well, it
um
breaks. I suppose it breaks that barrier, doesn't it?
yes,
That
exactly that. Yeah, it
almost that
breaks that barrier.
awkwardness.
Yes,
Yeah.
yeah, yeah. So after that break, we then have two other questions which change every week.
Okay.
An example for that question, one of my favorites just before Christmas last year was, "What's one thing you've achieved in 2024 you're proud of and why?"
Yeah.
Now, the and why about it is because going back to that top trumps, but also getting people thinking why they are pleased of something they've done themselves. Um, so I know some people that would. I love running. I love running, but I
Mhm.
know some people that a 5K would be a massive struggle for them or a
Yeah.
massive thing. But they might go, "I did a 5K or I've done a couple of 5Ks," whereas at the start of the year I wouldn't, and I'm really proud of myself because I pushed myself outside of my comfort zone and I've done it. So that why for them
Yeah.
is that's the reason, and that's the thing that I love the most about the why is because we want it to be thought provoking. We don't want it to be like, "Oh, I did a 5K." We want to know why.
Yeah.
Why that why always
What
comes into
that? I suppose it's
that.
that meaning, isn't it? It's
Yeah,
the.
and then question number 5 is always quick fire. And like at Anders Man Club, you don't have to answer me if you don't want to.
Uh-huh.
So you can just pass that ball on if you wanted to on any of these questions. Um, if I made a sandwich for you right now, what would you put in it? What's your favorite sandwich filling? What's your go-to sandwich filling?
Me, I'm BLT every time. Bacon, lettuce,
BLT.
and tomato. Yeah.
Yeah, I'm cheese and pickle. Now,
Uh-huh.
there's one thing there. When I asked you that question, you automatically smiled. Just thinking of
Yeah.
it. Just thinking of it. So the reason we're that quick fire
I would just like to say for this that was not planned. I had no idea Barks was going to ask me that
yeah,
before I get these cynical comments of this is all planned.
yeah,
These chats, the whole thing about these chats are they are not overly planned. I think we've had what 2 sentences as an email, Bart, roughly
Yeah,
about what we're going to
that's
talk about.
about it. Yeah,
But just so you know, that was not planned. So that smile
yeah.
was from the heart and from
If you want to
inside.
make it even, if you want to make it even more thing that I could say, what's your guilty pleasure song? That's another example of question 5. What's one song that you like
Oh.
that you don't think you should? See, now mine is Justin Bieber's "Love Yourself." I love that song. I think
Uh-huh.
I don't like any of his other music, but I love Justin Bieber's "Love Yourself."
Yeah. See, I know there's a modern remix it, but you can't beat a bit of Eiffel 65 and Blue loud on the
Yeah,
radio.
yes, love it. Um, and so that was just to prove that this wasn't staged, and you wouldn't expect that one to be coming.
Yeah.
Um, Now, the reason why I said about you smile when I asked you that sandwich filling question is because it's 7 o'clock at night. You could have walked through the door with burdens. Let's say the world on your shoulders, your troubles, your issues, your stuff that you go, the rubbish that you're going through. You use the first 3 questions to tell people how you're feeling and to get some of it out of your head, off your chest, however you want to say it. Then you thought about something that you've done that you're quite proud of, or your thing. But at 9 o'clock, you're walking back out that door a little bit lighter on a positive note because someone just asked you what your favourite sandwich filling in or what your guilty pleasure
Yeah.
song is. I'll say they're just examples, but it's that thing of walking through the door at 7 o'clock with the world on your shoulders and walking out that little bit lighter. And I'm not saying like you don't need to come again or anything like that. It just, for me, when I just kept on giving, I kept on going back, kept on going back. 2 months after I started, a Monday, my birthday actually fell on a Monday. Friends were asking me what I was doing. I'm going to Anne's Mind Club because that's what I needed to do to help me
Yeah.
to on my
Do
journey.
you is there a sort of sorry to interrupt, but is there a time frame that you see that once men are coming along, they then keep coming, or is it a turnover of people, or what? From your
You
experience,
see,
what do you
you
see?
see, I think you see both, but you mainly the majority is that people keep coming because safe space, routine. Um, we know that you could have. I can remember about 5 weeks after going, I was driving down, and you obviously know the first 3 questions before you get there because
Yeah,
you do they're the same every week. And I was thinking, I got nothing to get off my chest this week. I got past the ball, and then I was like, spent 5 minutes talking, or I don't know, even 5 minutes, 3 minutes talking, pass the ball on, going, where the hell did that come
that,
from? I
yeah,
couldn't believe that I'd actually thought it, and it was just, and that was just a thought that it was just in my head. Whereas that, and that's, but then lots of people over the whole entire network get themselves in a better place, and then they want to give back. So
yeah.
that's where then the facilitators come in, the volunteers. We've got 2,500 volunteers out there that
Wow.
basically without it, and I think we got 40 staff now. So that was my journey. I attended. I got in a better place. Got asked if I wanted to become a facilitator. I still wasn't in a great place. I was in a better place, but I got to a great place. I think being a volunteer facilitator gave me an extra little boost.
Yeah.
Um, I then the lead facilitator stood down, and myself and another guy ran it together. And then the job role came up June, maybe April last year. And day before my interview, I found out I was being made redundant. So not only did I
Right.
want the job, I actually
Yeah.
needed the
Need it. Yeah.
job. But I was, lucky enough to be offered the job of the area lead. So as an area lead, I look after the existing clubs that are in that area. Try and set up new ones because, like I say, some people travel. So they may want to set up one in their area, which we then work together and do, which is amazing.
Yeah.
The we also do things like this, raising awareness, going to companies to do presentations. We've got a presentation that we do about 45 minutes. We don't charge for that. We ask if you could cover travel expenses because
Yeah.
we are 100% donation based. So we don't ask for donation because the main thing for us is always the awareness. Yes,
Yeah.
donations are greatly appreciated and we love them. But
But it's not what it's about.
someone raising £1,000 and someone raising £10 is just the same if they get out to 100 people to raise awareness of what Anders Man Club is.
Yeah.
As I say, it's a northern charity. If you go up north, there's lots more clubs up in the north of the country. My job is to bridge that gap to make
Spread the word.
spread the word. And my mission is to say to somebody in this area, "Oh, I do this for Andy's Man Club," and they know what Andy's Man Club is. I don't
Yeah.
have to do the you call it the sales pitch, I know, but I
Yeah.
don't have to do that. It was named after Andy Roberts. I don't. That's my own personal little mission is to be that person. It doesn't have to explain it, and everybody out there will know
No.
because of the awareness work I'm
Yeah.
already doing.
Fabulous. So to tie this up, right, so
Yep.
I'm very conscious of using your time. It is obviously quite a passion of yours and a fantastic charity. First of all, where can guys find out where their local meeting is?
Yeah,
If
just go
they
on our website. There's a group finder there that you can type in your postcode,
so
city.
what's the website, Barts? Tell me.
www.andismanclub.co.uk.
Amazing. So go on there, put your postcode in there. If anybody
Yep,
wants, from a business point of view, a corporate point of view, to book anything for their staff,
yep,
feel free to anybody who's listening to this, feel free to message me. I will pass your details on directly on to Bart's. But also Annie's Man Club, I'm sure on their website have got details about signing that. But if you'd like to
yep,
come through me, not a problem at all. Anything again, completely agree with you. But if there's one life that can be saved through anything we do,
yep,
then for me, it was something we mentioned before that it to me that's the tick in the box. That's the justification of everything we do with regards to well-being and suicide awareness and everything else. So onto the website. If you're a corporate, don't hesitate to get in touch with either myself. I'll put Bart's email if you're okay for this at the end of this video, Bart's.
If you could put info at Anders Man Club, just
Yep.
because that one then can get put in contact with the right person rather
Yep.
than it all going through me.
Yeah, brilliant. So there you go. So info at andysmanclub.co.uk for any information, everything. Any donations? If you've watched this, if it resonates with you, if there's somebody who you know, male, female, whoever who's struggled with their mental health, who have been to Andy's Man Club, you think would benefit, pop your hand in your pocket. Every pound counts. I'm sure whether it's for buying biscuits, tea, coffee, squash, whatever, it all counts just to helping those guys out there who really need an ear to listen or to be listened from and to share. So, Bart, as the first male guest on Let's Chat, I would just like to thank you so much for your time. Um, I know for me there are a couple of local clubs, which is fantastic, and be sure I'll be supporting them for sure. Thank you very much for your time. What you do is amazing. From every man out there, keep going. For yourself, for Andy's mother and brother-in-law, and for every other man out there, it's okay to talk. It's okay to not be okay. And Andy's Man Club is clearly there doing the right stuff. So, Bart, thank you very much for your time.
Thank
Um,
you.
from anybody watching, follow Andy's Man Club on X, on Instagram, follow Facebook pages, and get involved because the more people we have talking, the better. So, Bart, finally, thank you very much for your time, and we shall catch up again very soon. So,
Thank
take
you.
care, mate. Yep. See you
Cheers.
later.
Bye.
Bye.